Hello, everybody. Sorry, I'm just listening to some tunes real quick. Let me pause those. It's kind of late at night. My acne's looking bad, and I don't know. I'm just awake. I figured I'd make a bit of an impromptu video. This is probably gonna have to have a follow-up video, but just looking for something to do. So, today I'm gonna be talking about finances. As a college student, I think that's a really important topic, and I feel like someone like me can definitely contribute a unique perspective in that. Seeing as I'm only 17, doing college full time, I do have to, I suppose, deal with a lot of things that otherwise wouldn't be barriers to those of you who follow the I guess the normal path to college. Being 18 and all that. I guess I could just start off with budgeting. Budgeting is really important. I mean, first, obviously, you have to have a source of income. I mentioned in my previous video, jobs not in food service, preferably, unless you're a server, someone that makes good money off of tips. Places like fast food you want to avoid. Chick Fil A, it's okay. I know people that make a lot of money there, more than me actually. Friends of mine. So I can't bash Chick Fil A, but in my experience, fast food's not too great of a place, especially if you're not, especially not if you're paying college bills. Um, so once you've established yourself a source of income, uh, you're gonna want to set probably what I would call a rigorous budget. And what that looks like is depending on how you've set up for your semester, you're going to have you're going to be spending between like I don't want to be giving like hard percentages because I'm not an expert, but like you can be saving pretty much all your money that you're making. And in my case, that's what I do. Um, I have a semester food plan, and that it gives me all my food, unless I'm out with friends, in which case I just bum off them. But that gives me all my food. I have my dorm here. That's already paid for. I paid pretty much everything I needed up front. And I don't really have any other expenditures. Buy some laundry detergent occasionally. That's about it. But and laundry here is free too. But that's just really that's a commodity, I guess, or sort of an amenity for me. Um, but depending on if you don't have to pay for monthly rent, you're gonna want to carve out basically all the unnecessary costs. Um, Fast food, not just as a job, but also eating, is really bad. I During my first year of working, while I was 16, I spent probably I'm gonna round up to 50% of all that I made, just on like consumable goods like freaking almond joys and Taco Bell, stuff like that. Don't do that. When you are in that 16 to 18 range, as I mentioned before, you're gonna want to save as much as you can, and that continues into now being a college student. You're going to want to be saving as much as you possibly can, because most likely you haven't been hit with some of the bigger aspects of adulthood, like you don't have a mortgage, I would assume, at this age, stuff like that. You might have a car payment. You're probably gonna have some insurance. Those are your foremost costs in your budget. But after you get past all the necessities, paying for your phone or whatever, maybe the Wi-Fi bill, utilities if you have an apartment, stuff like that. You're gonna want to kind of sort of like constrict down on what you spend on like the I guess the luxurious variables, and what I mean by that is like stuff like your food. If you don't have a dining plan like I do, if you don't live on campus, if you're buying your own food, don't basically just go buy the most expensive products. Invest in healthy foods for sure. I'm not saying go buy bottom of the barrel Pop Tarts and mac and cheese every day, but look for sales. Especially, I do that all the time at the Publix where I work. I only buy ice cream if it's on like buy one get one free sale. And most of those stores have like rotations of the sales. So if you miss a sale, it's most likely going to be back in a month or two. So you can use that to like stock up on stuff while it's cheap. That's a really good tool I use, and it's once you learn those patterns, you can kind of predict how it's gonna go in terms of like when what sale is gonna be around, depending on like the time of the month or depending on what week it is. If they have a week by week sort of rotation for sales, like my store does. In terms of other like just bills, obviously, if you have to pay for utilities, don't go crazy on, stuff like air conditioning. Like there's you're gonna want to like cut corners. And I mean I know that has a negative connotation, but like in a good way. Um, Sort of like making yourself live poor. And I know a lot of people don't like that, and some people just don't want to. They want to kind of feel, I guess, comfortable economically, but for me, that doesn't mean spending your money. Um, I save that, as an idea in my head. I save that for down the line when I truly am like fully comfortable with what I'm doing. As of right now, there's a lot of things that could go bad. So spending your money on huge nights out with your friends, parties, things like that, that's not going to be the best allocation of your money. So you want to, I guess, kind of just dial back on those sorts of things. I guess maybe a little bit of mental aspect to it is being humble, not trying to flex to your friends, like, I have all this money, I'm in college, woohoo. Because if we're being completely honest, you don't. And a lot of young adults try to hold up the sort of image of success and then they end up going bankrupt or falling into their debt. Um, so that's, um, obviously not something you want to do. Switching up finances, not like looking in the present, looking in the future. After you've done just like the main budgeting bits, after you've covered your necessities, things like that, costs, monthly, bills and such, you kind of can choose how you want to allocate what you have left, and that should range between probably 50 to like 90 to 100 percent of your income, just depending on your circumstance. Everybody's very different, of course. For me, I save, I mean, for the last couple months I've been saving pretty much 100% of what I make. I've just really made myself not spend money, which I think that's a discipline that a lot of people should teach themselves and make themselves live in. Just the discipline of, my friends are going to a restaurant, I'm gonna go with them, for the quality time, but I'm not gonna go buy an $11 meal or whatever, that kind of thing. And I get people think that's awkward, but that's the thing is I'd rather be rich and then people think, dang, that guy's kind of stingy, rather than just be broke but then blend in and every I'm kind of, people are like, no, he's cool, he's not socially awkward. Like I don't know, I just I don't care too much about image, and that's a strange barrier that I don't understand, but I recognize it's there for lots of people, and I do accept its legitimacy. But I also think that it's something that almost everyone could push themselves past if they put the mental effort in for that. But as for the money that you have left after you've taken out all your bills and then cut back on all your expenditures, you can do a couple of things for the. God dang it, I'm getting calls. I'm so sorry. For the chill people, I guess the not too risky, the people that like to be hands off, maybe the more comfy people. Actually, I don't want to say more comfy because it can kind of go back and forth. Having your money in a savings account is safe and stable, and that's what people like to do a lot. Savings account sounds nice, saving. Um, but the thing about that is that the interest rates are really low. Um, for most savings accounts. So what I would recommend is, if you have already built up sort of a emergency fund, there's loads of courses that teach that concept. Dave Ramsey. I took Financial Peace University. I very much stand behind the emergency fund concept, um, but keep that in mind that is just for emergencies. After you've built an emergency fund, you can have that in a savings account, absolutely. But anything after you've built yourself a bit of a cushion, I would recommend going into things like bonds and stocks. And I get that that requires a bit of education. Um, I myself have been doing it since I was What was freshman year? I guess 15-ish. Yeah, 15. Yeah, because I'm a permit. 15. Maybe 14. 15 or 14. I started trading Ether, Ethereum, um, cryptocurrencies over the summer before my sophomore year. So I've been, looking at graphs and candlestick, patterns such as stuff like that for a little while. So I'd say I'd have more experience than your average 17-year-old, but that kind of stuff can be really scary, especially if you've never really considered it or thought about it. So maybe I'll do a video on that. But um, what I mean by that is not to go be some sort of day trader. Um, Day trading is what people kind of advertise. It's just you throw your money around and then it just so happens that you make a bunch of money. The people that do that and the people that advertise that on places like TikTok and whatnot are very experienced. They have lots of money to leverage. So if they end up making a bad sort of investment on an options trade, they can bounce back with the money they have left rather than people that don't have 6 and 7 figures that they can just liquidate and move um, multiple times a day. Um, that sort of trading is way riskier and also much down the line. What I would recommend is getting yourself an app on your phone that has really low fees because brokerages and stuff are definitely going out of style for the most part. Getting yourself an app like Webull, um, Copper, maybe Alinea, like I use, and most of those have built-in sort of education systems. But you can also just have a look at different graphs and graph patterns, kind of teach yourself those sorts of things if you really want to get into it. But there's also in almost all, I think in all of those apps, and I know for sure the one I use, Alinea, there's basket funds, and investing in things like that, and even the S&P 500, like that's extremely stable. There's not really risk in that, and it's gonna have much better return rates than your anyway than your savings accounts. You're gonna have stuff like you're gonna have not only just like dividends, but you're going to have the option to sell if you need to, and you can buy more. And one thing I think people don't pay attention to enough is the fact that the more time you spend with your investments just in the market, the better, because as time goes on, the big businesses are going to grow. If you are looking for stability, companies like Amazon, especially right now in the present, um, they're at relative lows because of COVID, but the big companies, they're not going to go bankrupt, so they're going to make some sort of comeback. So putting a good amount of money into them now is great because a certain amount of months down the line, um, they'll have bounced back 20, 30%, possibly even into the further future, reach really good highs. So if you're willing to put money in that you're not going to need for at least a couple of months, multiple months, going into years if you want to stay with it. I would say investing stocks in big companies is definitely the way to go. Lastly, I just want to reiterate deal with debt immediately, preferably stay out of it, but deal with debt. I know a lot of people push credit, and I respect that. Credit as a young adult is very important. I don't have credit. Ideally, I don't have debt ever. I want to buy my house outright. That's ambitious. I get that. I don't expect all of you to do that as well. For me, it's mostly about just like I guess the freedom of it because I hate the fact that interest could be working against me. I want interest to be working for me. So, if I'm stuck between, hypothetically, not that I am, but if I'm stuck between paying back my credit card bill or pumping my latest paycheck into a stock, I'm going to pay the credit card bill. You want to avoid all debt, and you want to claw yourself out of debt immediately. So if you just so happen to have debt, I would take an aggressive approach. If you're saving, 50 to 90% of your income, I wouldn't necessarily save that. I would, if you are comfortable enough, I would completely throw all of that like at the debts that you have, because in the long run, that's going to be more Jesus, it's gonna be more sustainable than if you were to keep that debt, but then also put your money in the market, because interest rates for debt are way more dangerous, way more vigorous because they're compound and stuff like that. And over time, you end up paying more than you originally owed, like by multiple hundreds of percentages. Um, so attacking your debt is probably what I would say would be the number one priority. And I probably should have mentioned that earlier because I know not too many people are going to be around at this point of the video. But that's what I'm going to wrap it up with. Take care of your debt before you start investing in the future. That's it for me today. I have to go see who's knocking at my dorm door because that's what I get for living in the underclassmen dorm building for this very, very public and very, very populated college. So, thanks for joining me. If you liked it, if you want more advice, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.